For years now, England have been looking for opportunities to get the much heralded Overton twins into the international sphere. Jamie, with his raw pace, and Craig, with his consistency, were seen as the future of England pace bowling, earning international call-ups of just 19 and 21 respectively. Yet nearly a decade after their breakthrough during the 2012 Under-19 World Cup, only Craig has appeared on the international stage, with Jamie consigned to international training squads. Given England's recent obsession with finding genuine quick bowlers, it's weird that a bowler like Jamie Overton, who can bowl 90 plus mile an hour consistently, hasn't been given a go at the international level. Whilst his performances have been erratic at times, he's shown genuine game-changing ability with the ball, which England have been chasing for a long time. Just look at his first-class bowling stats. His average of a shade under 31 is not spectacular, but look at his strike rate. He takes a wicket every 52.7 deliveries. James Anderson's test match strike rate is 56.3. That's pretty exciting, even if we are shamelessly ignoring his dreadful economy rate. When you have a bowler with such a rare skill set, you don't want them wasting away in county cricket. So even if Jamie wasn't yet ready for the test side, shooting a baptism through the shortest format, where a quick bowler can rapidly make a name for themselves, would have made sense. The problem is, he isn't any good at it. Here's a graph featuring some of the more prominent T20 seam bowlers in English cricket, specifically those who bowl at the most important stages of the innings and are in the conversation as potential international cricketers. Right here at the bottom of the graph you have King Jofra, Tymel Mills and... wait, who the fuck is that? Matty Potts of Durham. Yeah, I don't know why he's there either, but that's a discussion for another time. Let's expand a bit. As you can see, Reece Topley and Sakib Mahmood have pretty exceptional records, taking plenty of wickets with very strong economy rates. And right in the middle of this kind of average cluster here is Chris Jordan sandwiched between the Currans. Their record really isn't that fabulous within context, is it? Given that there is Chris Wood. No, not the Burnley one, the Hampshire one. But I digress. Let's find Jamie Overton. Wait, where is he exactly? Aha! There he is, all the way over here. The gap between his and Lewis Gregory's T20 records is greater than the difference between Chris Jordan and Lewis Gregory's. It's pretty staggering. I mean, this guy right here is James Harris, who I believe to be one of the worst pound-for-pound T20 bowlers I've ever seen. There is Jamie Overton. It's not good, is it? Jamie Overton's T20 record throughout his career has been genuinely dreadful. Obviously he's played the majority of his cricket at Taunton, which is not a generous venue for bowlers in the shortest format. But so has Lewis Gregory, and look at the difference. Regardless of the conditions, his 9.58 economy rate is very expensive. In fact, it is the most expensive economy rate in the history of T20 cricket for bowlers with a minimum of 1,000 deliveries in the format. That is mind-bogglingly bad for such a hyped prospect. It must be said though that his strike rate is very strong. Overton takes a wicket every 18.6 deliveries, which is just one more ball per wicket than Jofra Archer and two more balls per wicket than Rashid Khan. But that economy rate overwhelmingly counteracts that. Let's use his 2018 T20 Blast performance as an example. That season was seen as a breakout year for Overton in the format as he took 24 wickets in just 15 games throughout the tournament. However, throughout the season, he went at 10.25 runs and over. 10.25. That's unbelievably bad. Kiwi quick Lockie Ferguson, on the other hand, went over 3.5 runs less and over than Overton, whilst taking his wickets at under 20 runs apiece. The difference is ridiculous. So whilst other genuine English quicks like Tymel Mills and Jofra Archer have found huge success in the shortest format, Overton has been left behind. Why is that? Well, essentially it's about skill. Mills and Archer are best known for their scorching pace, but they are also highly skilled operators. It's not talked about enough. Archer is a traditional line bowler who consistently hits good areas of the new ball, who can then back up that good work with variations and a pinpoint Yorker at the death. He's basically the perfect white ball seamer. Tymel Mills is an early phenomenon with his extreme pace for the new ball, but also found a niche by hitting the deck hard later on with both his quicker ball and a back of the hand slower ball that was very difficult to take on. That tactic was eventually found out, which, alongside some injury issues, led to a couple of lean years on the franchise circuit. However, he has come back strongly of late, possessing the third best bowling impact among English seamers in Major League since 2018 according to CricViz, where he utilised his pace alongside a huge amount of skill he has picked up as a genuine T20 specialist. Jamie Overton, however, possesses very little skill or nuance as a T20 operator. He has some slower balls, but they're easily picked out of the hand and sit up to be hit more often than not. The main issue he has, however, is consistency. Practically every over he will serve up a boundary delivery, which completely releases any pressure he might be able to build up. When you know a changeup is coming and are able to cash in on poor deliveries, it's much easier to use the pace of Overton against him. It's pretty remarkable given his unique skill set, but Jamie Overton is an objectively terrible T20 bowler, and I think he's worked that out himself. He spent last year's T20 blast on loan with Surrey, which he ultimately turned into a permanent move this summer, with the specific purpose of moving up the order and contributing more heavily with the bat. He's always had the ability to hit a clean ball, but last year showed some potential as a dangerous middle-order pinch hitter of sorts. Batting higher up the order in a Surrey team stacked full of bowling options, Overton was able to focus on his hitting with his bowling effectively a luxury for occasional use. That clearly freed him up, as amongst players with more than 5 innings in last year's T20 blast, Overton possessed the highest strike rate in the competition as he went at 189.09. With just 104 runs under his belt, it's a small sample size, but he really showed some promise. That momentum has continued into this season as Overton, despite only bowling 1 over for 15 across 2 games for Surrey, has been able to make an impact with the bat. In his 1 innings against Middlesex, he made 27 runs off just 13 balls batting at number 5, which provided the innings with some serious impetus following the dismissal of the slow-scoring Jason Roy. Surrey have been keen to utilise him in the middle overs rather than as a finisher, which allows them to maintain the high scoring rate that their explosive opening partnership of Will Jackson and Jason Roy usually provide. That, alongside the steadying presence of Laurie Evans and the explosiveness of Sam Curran, allows them to maintain momentum but also protect what is a pretty lengthy lower middle order. There is very little pressure on Overton to build an innings, which is a perfect scenario for a player of his ilk. However, that doesn't mean he's limited to just being a hitter. He actually possesses a pretty decent technique, one befitting a player with significantly more red ball runs than he has actually made. He may be a 27-year-old with a first-class average below 20, but there is a real batsman in there. Put that alongside some serious power and the kind of controlled arrogance that some of the very best players in his mould possess, and you really have something. So what Overton provides Surrey with is a perfectly viable batsman who will consistently score fast, but without the risk of a traditional pinch hitter who may get stuck and cost his team some runs. In a pinch he may even be able to build a partnership in rebuilding situations, but primarily he will add impetus to your innings and can be deadly at the death if necessary. Add in his pretty excellent fielding and you have a fun package at your disposal. I realise I'm basing this off a very small sample size, but I genuinely think there's something very intriguing here. Overton passes the eye test, and the nature of his role as a pinch hitter means his failures shouldn't really cost his side. He may even become valuable enough to justify the 80k the Manchester Originals picked him up for in the 100 draft. That doesn't mean I don't have my concerns though. The main thing is that I'm not really sure what his ceiling is in this kind of role. A slightly more angry Lewis Gregory? A faster James Fuller? Ross Whiteley but with good PR? Whatever it is, it's nothing close to his potential. Surrey and England currently possess a cricketer who can bowl 90 plus mile an hour and strike the ball cleanly in the middle order. That's very rare. Other than Andre Russell, there is literally nobody else in the world who can do what Overton does. He's a unicorn. Yet for some reason he's just a bit part player in a T20 Blast tournament that has its talent spread pretty thin. I recognise that his bowling record is utterly abysmal, and that raw pace doesn't make for an impactful white ball bowler as we've seen, but not even giving him a role with the ball feels like a complete waste of his talent. I think the wasting of his talent aspect of this is very important, because his red ball ventures of late have also been hugely underwhelming. I mean, he's averaged 88.25 with the ball in this year's county championship, in the kind of hot summer you need strike bowlers like him to deliver. It's not even a small sample size situation, he's bowled over 100 overs, yet he's just not delivering. I've never been a huge fan of Jamie Overton's bowling across the formats, but it is very challenging to be that ineffective bowling at that pace. You have to wonder whether it's something to do with his coaching. In Overton, you have a mouldable ball of clay, a tall bowler who can swing the ball at extreme pace and produce some genuinely unplayable deliveries. Yet his first-class bowling average is still north of 30, and he's one of the worst T20 bowlers of all time. Something is going wrong here, and whilst it's tough to understand on the outside, it feels like the coaches and the organisations he plays for are failing him somewhat. If I was to say anything to Jamie Overton, it would be to firstly continue to embrace your role as a middle-order pinch hitter. It's extremely valuable and provides you with a myriad of exciting opportunities on the franchise circuit. Secondly, and most importantly though, don't give up on your bowling. His T20 fortunes may not have been great so far, but given the rare skill set he possesses, there is an opportunity for it to develop. I have no doubt that a role can be carved out for his elite pace and wicket-taking ability in this format, and if he can work that out, he might become something very special. Right now, Jamie Overton is a very useful cog in the Surrey machine, but he can be so much more.